Yay! Hi everyone, welcome to Life Matters with Anadidiri. And this week, like I said on the everywhere as you said it, this week is our anniversary week, and it was so amazing, and we're so blessed to have our guest for today. She is, those people that at the back, people that always fight for you and make sure that everything is working well for you. Those kind of people that when you're in an organization, they don't want you to feel like, oh, you're not represented. And that's one thing that she'll always talk about: equality, diversity. And I am super excited because what she and her team have been working on, guys. I wish that we had this like probably 5 years ago or 10 years ago. That is something that's ours. But before I talk too much so that you guys don't say, what are we talking about? So this is your first time joining us. This is Life Matters with Anu Adedire, and we've been running this. Originally, we're running since 2017, but we kind of first birthed the idea in 2016. So if you're talking about the birth of the idea, it's around 5 years. But if you're talking about running of the show, it's about 4 years. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have conversations with different people from different parts of the world was because we wanted to make sure that the kind of content that's out there isn't just always negative. Like people always say, negative news runs faster than positive news. So why can't we have people that are genuine, that have genuine businesses, just come and share with us their experience and their own struggles, or marriages that lasted for over 20 years. Why do we always have to look at the divorce stats and not look at how marriages have worked for so many years? Why can't we just have a sit down with an author and read into the mind of the author? So these are the different conversations that we talk about here on Life Matters with Anadedire. And if you've not seen any episode, make sure that you check the playlist on my channel. It's at Anadedire on YouTube, and make sure that you listen on different podcasts. We're currently on 9 podcast platforms. So make sure that you listen to us as we share with you these different stories. But today we'll be talking everything credit card, credit bureau, credit repair. But most importantly, we'll be introducing to you City Lending Center. Before I talk too much, so that you don't say, what I'm talking about, first meet my guest. Can you introduce yourself to us, Ma? What do you do? And it's a big pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. And first of all, I want to say congratulations. Congratulations with this show. Congratulations. And thank you for giving people the platform to come share their experiences with others. I think it's an amazing thing to do. I'm very sure a lot of people are blessed when they listen to you and they learn a thing or two. So thank you and congratulations. My name is Margaret Adekunle. I've been in Canada now for 21 years. I'm glad. And I've always worked in the banking industry. I recently left the bank after 20 years, and I was a branch manager for 11 years. I recently left to start my own venture, which we'll be talking about today. But I've had a lot of amazing experiences. I've had experiences that I sometimes don't even want to share. I've experienced racism, I've experienced discrimination. I've been in a situation where you work so hard, sweat and blood, and you don't get recognized for it. At the same time, I've had amazing leaders who were there for me along the way. All these experiences that I've had shaped who I became today, and I'm glad that I'm here to share City Lending with every one of you.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure that a lot of people will also understand from your experience, because I've seen where people just feel like I'd rather be the only Black person because I want to make sure that I'm doing well and every other person's underneath me. But at the same time, you want to make sure that there's representation. And for the last 3 weeks, we've been talking to realtors in different parts of the world. The first realtor we talked to was in Chicago. We had someone in Alberta, and we had another person from Ontario on Saturday, and one of the things that we kept hammering about is representation. There's something about similarity when it comes to business. It's easy for me to trust and see that, oh, this person looks like me, this person understands my experience. Even when it comes to the health sector, I still heard Dr. Dakbaki Shikwe have that conversation where a lot of people feel more comfortable when they see an African doctor, just because they understand what they've been through or who they are. And when I say, oh, that paracetamol, they will be able to understand what that paracetamol is, right? So a lot of us have been in situations, and like you said, if you start sharing the stories, we will not live here. Basically, if it's not at work, it will be in the stores. People are looking at you. I remember having a friend that was talking on the show, and she said that she entered into the store in the US, not even in Canada, and the shop owner was literally just following her with his eyes, right? And she felt so irritated from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet. So I'm super excited that City Lending Center is not just about the money, but about educating. So give us a brief. You've been in the bank for the last 20 years here in Canada, and you've seen so many things. Briefly give us 5 mistakes most immigrants that are of Black descent. What are like 5 common mistakes that we make when we just come into the country?
Kudos to a lot of people that uproot their whole life, who they are, come into a new country and start afresh. A lot of immigrants get here and they have to start all over again. That on its own, it's a journey. Then they start building credits. The thing with building credit or being stable financially that a lot of people don't know, and I believe some people don't know, is that when you're transitioning from a cash-based society to a credit-based society, it would have been nice if there is a mandatory course that you have to do as soon as you enter, as soon as you get into Canada. Then they tell you this is ABC said this is what you need to do. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. When people go to the bank to open accounts or get credit cards, most of the account managers that you talk to are salespeople. They are not necessarily trained to educate you on credit. I can't say it's part of their responsibility. They should maybe explain a little bit more, but the reality is that they don't. So some of the mistakes, and I won't call it mistakes that I've seen, is that a lot of people don't know. An average consumer will not know what they don't know if they are not being told. I once met a lady, a Nigerian immigrant, who wanted to buy a house. By the time she came to me, her credit score was around 500 and something. And when I looked at her credit history, she has a few credit cards, about maybe 6 or 7 credit cards, all maxed out, line of credit, 2 maxed out. And when I had a chat with this lady, honestly, she didn't realize she needed to pay back this money. But by the time she realized, and some people might think, why would she not know? Some people would know what they know, and some just don't know what they don't know. So City Lending Centers is starting based on a lot of people that have come across, like this lady that I spoke about. I've met a few doctors, lawyers from Nigeria who couldn't practice here. They get here, they are working so hard, and they can't qualify for a mortgage, either because their credit is not good enough or their credit history is thin, as we normally say in the bank. Now, let's think about it. And that's what I meant when I say, is our credit scoring system flawed? Is there a problem with the credit scoring system? When someone is new to the country, of course, your credit will be thin because it's a new credit. And normally the banks need 2 years of history. Why do we require 2 years of history for somebody just coming in? Right? This is where I feel a little bit of the discrimination is, and this is where we can do better. When we're trying to put everybody on the same level. So I think that a lot of people honestly don't know. If they know better, I feel they will do better. And that's why we're here. With City Learning Centers, we have a lot of educational tools that we'll be providing. From My Credits, we have different modules on credit. We have financial advisors that would hold your hands and walk you through every single step if you're looking to pay off debt. So yeah, there's been a lot of mistakes that people could make. One of it is not knowing. Another piece is getting too many credit card or buy into the idea of buy now, pay later. Right? Already the income that you're earning, the $2,000 or $3,000 that you get after tax is already accounted for. You will pay lots of bills. Now you're buying more things on your credit card and there's no wiggle room. We don't have enough to pay for it. So when people get to that stage, City Lending Centers is able to help them get back on track. So those are some of the mistakes and challenges that I've seen that people are currently facing. But again, I think it all ties back to knowing and not knowing, right? It all ties back to the system and what people know and what they don't know.
Thank you very much, Matt. Something you picked out and that you said, which caught my attention, was when I think it was sometimes 3-4 months ago, we had a financial advisor that came around and was sharing her experience. And to be very sincere, the topic of the conversation was money mistakes immigrants make. And to be very sincere, she shared a lot. And one of the things she shared was one thing you just mentioned, which she said, even though, yes, we don't have a lot of representation in these different fields and when it comes to money and stuff like that, but you know, one thing she noticed that people already, I think one mistake a lot of people make is that they have this preconceived notion of this is what my family members that have been in Canada for the last 20 years have been doing and it has worked for them, so I have to do it too, forgetting that when they came to Canada, it was a different ball game. It was a different how do we call it? Like the what do you call it? The kind of credit system that they had then is different from what you have now. The kind of bank accounts, there are some bank accounts that are basically for new immigrants. So she was trying to tell them that this bank account, for the first year, you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to do this. Oh, they said, no. My cousin told me I should not collect anything from this person. And they went on. And she felt somehow, but she really tried her best to let them understand why she was trying to like tell them this thing. But they said no. So she said, okay. So they gone home. I think 2 months after they saw the bill for like monthly payments and they came back. They're like, you did not tell me. And she's like, no, I had this conversation with you. So I think like you said, even though the knowledge when it comes to credit and the credit system isn't there and thankful that your center is trying to do help the community to do that. Another thing is that we should listen to those that are professionals at it. I know your cousin has been in Canada for the last 30 years, but you also have to listen to the professional that is trying to tell you that you don't necessarily need a 5,000 credit limit. If because the bank said, oh, let's increase your credit limit to 10,000, it's a very nice button. I've tried it before. It's always very sweet and quick, but don't forget, credit card money is not yours. I think we always forget to tell ourselves that it's not your money. It is like a loan that you have to pay back. So we have a question here on Instagram, and I'm going to ask you quickly before I go to my next question. What's the difference between credit collector and credit bureau?
Well, credit bureau is where all this all credit activities are reported, right? Everything. We have 2 credit bureaus that I know of in Canada, Equifax and TransUnion. Now, what you don't want is credit collectors. The moment your phone starts ringing, then you have to come to City Lending Centers. That means there's a problem. Is that you have some credit cards, maybe you forgot to pay, or there is a loan that you have and you forgot to pay, or maybe you went to the library, rented a book, and you forgot about the book. A lot of banks, a lot of companies, even the utility companies report things to credit bureau. So if you forget to pay any bill, if they've called you a few times and they're not hearing from you, they sell that debt to a third party who are now the collectors, chasing you with phone calls and threatening to call your employers. That's what they do. They will do everything possible to collect from you. A company might sell, let's say a bank might sell a $5,000 debt to a collections company for $3,000 or $2,000, and they will be running after you to collect the full amount. What I would suggest you do if you ever find yourself in that situation is have a conversation. Don't try to avoid them. Pick up the phone and negotiate. They are always reasonable. So debt collectors, you don't want them calling you. But with credit bureau, that's where all activities, all your credit activities are reported, and a lot of banks, landlords, when you're looking for jobs, background checks, they will pull your credit. And this is one of the reasons why we brought City Lending's Secure Credit Card to the community. We want to encourage people to use their own money, spend your own money. Our credit limit is from $300 to $25,000. You determine the credit limit that you want. Take $500, you deposit $500, we give you a credit card for $500. You're spending your own money, you're building credit, and you have peace of mind.
So for someone that this is their first time in the country, they don't have any issue of some sort. How do they start? Because some people will tell you that, oh, so the trap is you go to Walmart tells you all these sweet deals, and now you get points, and now this. Then you go to Superstore and they tell you, oh, PC, this is this. Then you go to Costco and there are all these credit cards that are telling you the advantages of why you should come to them, and you don't have to pay zero down. It's to very sincere, it's always sweet. There was a time that I had to beg one woman that anytime you see me, please don't come near me with this thing. I don't need it. Like, I know I come to Walmart a lot, but I'm okay. Like, if I know that I'm going to spend $100, I budget $100. And I always try as much as possible to be strict to my spending, right? So why should I not get all those that have all these points and get the CLC card? So that's what we call it, the CLC card, guys. So yeah.
So here's the difference, right? All those cards that you have, Walmart, I don't know if you've checked the interest rates. Most of their interest rates are over 20%. Canadian Tire and Co, they are way over 20-something percent. And you're borrowing the money too. You're borrowing the money. And that's what attracts a lot of people to those kind of credit cards. Because you're not paying immediately. It's not your money. So you're buying now, you're going to pay maybe few months down the road, but you're still going to pay. So let's think about time and money. Money is time is money. You have to go to work 8 hours before you earn money. So now when you buy now to pay later, you're saving, you're preparing to spend some of your time in the future for the money you're spending now. Almost like selling your future away, part of your time in the future away. So the difference with secure City Lending Center secure line of secure credit card is that it is your money. You put down this money, you're spending it, you're building credit, you're not necessarily in debt. If you can't pay for any reason, either you lost your job or whatnot, we just take that money, we replace whatever you owe, whatever is left, we give you back. So why won't you go with a secure credit card and you know you're not banking on spending more time in the future to pay a debt? That's the main difference. You're spending your own money. You're not going to be in debt. You have peace of mind. You can control your spending.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I think people should maximize this, because, and you're not taking a loan to now come back and say, oh, you know what, I don't. So let me kind of explain in layman's terms for people that might not want to understand what we are saying. We're saying, let's imagine that your credit card limit right now is $5,000, right? And you have, let's say, TD $5,000 credit card. The reason why CLC is better is that $5,000, instead of using it as instead of having it as debt in TD, take your $5,000 instead of so let's imagine that let's imagine someone has $10,000. So the person pays back the $5,000 they owe TD credit card, and they are back to like zero. So take the remaining $5,000, go to CLC and say, CLC, this is. And for those that don't know CLC, what did I call it? City Lending Center. So that's the card. So you take the card, you drop it, you take your $5,000 and say, you know what, CLC, I want to open an account and I want this card for $3,000 as my limit. So CLC does everything. They don't run a credit check on you, don't do anything. you're approved for a 3,000 and it's there. It's a secured card. Now, the advantage, like she just explained, is that you can spend your money as you want, and the credit bureau will be taking into cognizance that, oh, this person is actually having some credit activity. Unlike you saying, oh, you know what? No, I'm going to get points. Yes, you're going to get points, but you're going to be in debt. So why not choose something that is secure, that is debt free, and you're still going to have your cash with you? And like she just explained, if something happens in the future where, let's say you lose your job and you need to pay some bills, remember that 5,000 you put down, whatever you've used, the difference will be given back to you. So I think it's a brilliant choice. It's a Oh, someone. So do we understand? Because someone said I should explain again. So I'm trying to explain
You know
again.
what? Sorry, before you explain to that person, I do apologize for cutting in. Point. See, in the banking world, we have a way of always, we have ways of wanting to catch you, right? How much do you have to spend? Do you know how much you have to spend before you get 1 point? Right? If you do the math,
averagely about $100.
So $100 to get 1 point. So how many $100 do you have to spend to get 2, 3, 4, 5 points, to get enough points to travel or to get enough points? And I can understand some people might say, oh, you at least I will get points eventually. It's accumulating. As the points are accumulating, you're also accumulating debt.
So guys, okay, so she says she's good now. Thank you. I am so glad that we have very active people on Instagram and they're asking questions. So my next question will be, why is this very important to you? Because I've seen you post and talk about this for the last couple of weeks. And that was why I reached out and I said, you know what, this is a very good opportunity as we start our anniversary week. How can we allow people, do I have to be in Canada to do this? But first off, before I even go down that route, why is this really important to you? Because you've worked in the banking sector for over 20 years. You could say, oh, you know what, I will keep giving people deals in the bank. So why is this different? Why is this very important to you?
Thank you. That's a good question. I'm a diversity and inclusion advocate. The last bank that I worked at, a few people probably know, I started the first ever Black employees network. I'm a big proponent of equality and equity. I believe everybody should have equal rights to everything. I've seen firsthand how people are treated. I've seen Black entrepreneurs come into the banks and they are not trusted. I've seen our white counterparts come in with a business plan, a proposal, and they automatically get their loans. I've seen a few Black entrepreneurs that will come in with an amazing idea, beautiful proposal, and they will not get it, either due to lack of trust or for many other reasons. We don't automatically give them a benefit of the doubt, for lack of better word. I've always wanted for the past 5 years to do something for the community. Honestly, if I could have my own bank, right, if money wasn't a problem and I have my own bank, I would have a special bank just for the community because I understand the needs of my people and I want to make things better. So the only reason I left the bank to do this is because I want people to have access to capital. Access to capital, and the wealth gap between Black and white is huge. What I explained earlier is access to capital. Our entrepreneurs don't have enough access to capital for them to be successful. As a matter of fact, I feel that a lot of entrepreneurs are set up for failure. They get a little bit of nugget, a teeny bit of loan to get started. You don't have money. You don't have enough to continue your operations. When you go to the bank to apply, they will always tell you that your ratios are too high. So I started City Lending Center so that we can gradually scale up. I started with a secure credit card rather than any other credit card because I want people to start spending their own money. You're spending your money, you're building credit. And because you're planning, it also helps you with your budget, right? You have your $500 credit card. Now you're building history. You're building history already. Now you have to sit back and budget and plan. Things only happen with budgeting, with planning. Investing is huge as well, and we'll also be talking about that a lot. We're going to be doing some series eventually. The bottom line is City Lending Centers was started for the community to encourage people to spend their own money. They are still building credit, start saving, start investing for the future. So if you, as someone who is looking to start planning towards tomorrow for the future, for your children, City Learning Center's Secure Credit Card would be a good place to start.
I think that's brilliant. You know, one thing while you were talking came to my mind is as an international student that comes into the country, and a lot of time they're swayed by all these other credit cards. If let's say your parents give you $5,000 every month as allowance, this is actually a very great opportunity for you to build credit and also live debt free on campus. So you just take that $5,000 your parents are giving you, put it into the secure credit card, and you can spend. So like I was telling her, I said it's the way I'm excited about it, it makes me think like I'm using my debit card, but at the same time I'm building credit history without, so I can actually just leave my credit card. Let's imagine that my credit card has a limit of $20,000. I can actually just leave my credit card with the $20,000 limit and leave it at home or whatever, and always use my secure credit card everywhere I go, so that when I actually let's say an emergency happens, and let's say my CLC card is not where I need it to be, or when it comes to cash, I know that I just need a little bit extra, right? But that's another place I want to talk about when it comes to the loan. What are the things to put in place? But I wanted to chip that hint for international students that might watch this and say, you know what, I don't have credit issues, so I want to go for these other options. You don't have to go for the other options that will make you run into debt. Make sure that you try this, put in your money, that allowance your parents send to you every month, put it into your secure credit card, and you will still build credit, which is very brilliant. So when it comes to loan, because you talked about when it comes to loan and as entrepreneurs, I was talking to my accountant today and I was telling him how expensive gadgets are. Like my husband were looking at like the camera that I'm supposed to use for the show, and where I was already put in like camera today, teleprompter tomorrow, and so many other things. And we're running at over $10,000, right? And I'm like, wow, like this is just for, let's say, six items. And that's not even talking about building a studio and having somewhere where if you are African and you want to share your story, you have a space where you can just sit down and have someone be in front of a camera where you can share your story. So if I need a loan, what do I need to do? Is City Learning Center there for me, or do I have to also still go through the route of the bank and get collateral and stuff like that? Oh, I think you're muted. We can hear you.
Yes, I did
Okay,
mute
awesome.
myself. Thank you. Yeah, I said that was a very good question, actually. We do have a loan component. We have quick loans. You need a quick 500, a quick 1,000. Now, I won't say our loans are the cheapest. Our loans are private loans. It's a community kind of loan. Anu came to me, she needs $1,000, and I know Titi has $1,000. I'm going to Titi to say, Titi, please, Anu needs this $1,000. Maybe I won't call Anu's name. Can I have it for her? Now, Titi needs a risk premium, which is probably why it's going to be that. And there's no credit check. We don't do all the 9 yards with the one we currently have. So it's private money that we currently have for loans. So I wouldn't say City Learning Center should be the first stop for loan, but if you're really stuck and you really, really need it, then you can come. But we do have something in the works that will make the loans that we have a little cheaper, keeping in mind their private money. And that will be another conversation with investment when we have another conversation. But for every international students out there, I would encourage you, as Anu said, to apply for a City Learning Center's secured credit card, so you don't get in debt by the time you graduate.
That's true. And another thing that I just thought about is that even for those that are business owners that probably you're in Nigeria, and you have kids here, or you are here and you have kids in another country, and you want to make sure that they have access to cards like this, you can start trusting them with things like this. And I know that some people say that, oh, they don't want their kids to have credit cards, but this is actually a way to actually help your kids start building their credit, and at the same time help them see how they can manage money. And that's one thing that I think I was watching a video today where the young man said one thing he has learned from his father is that he saves 80% and spends 20%. Now, not
Wow,
everybody will have that luxury because his father is probably paying everything for him, right? Some people
that's
have
true.
left the house since age 15 and they've had their credit in a mess. So how can CLC help them? Because right now, let's say they are 32 now and they left the house 16 years ago and they've made so many money mistakes. How can CLC be of help to them?
And that's exactly what we do. This is exactly what we want to do for the community. So you will have a financial advisor dedicated to you that will help you map out what needs to be done. The first thing a financial advisor will do with someone like that is pull their credit, have a conversation, and then hold their hands through the process. We also have a cash secure loan that we can explain a different day. It works just like a secured credit card where you're actually saving money and while rebuilding your credit. And that money will be in a savings account for you. So we do have a few programs. We also have, again, maybe that's another conversation. We have a foundation called Immigrant Inclusive Credit, where we have a bunch of educational tools to help people with situations like this. A lot of educational tools. We're going to be having lots of conversations and series that people can learn from on how to manage their credit. But the first stop, like you said earlier, is city lending centers. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is give them a credit card to start rebuilding and showing credit history. Then somebody will hold their hand through the process to help them fix that credit. So please, City Learning Center is for you if you're in that situation. And I find myself in that situation before, even though I've always worked in the bank, right? I've always worked in the bank. However, I think it was in 2009 when I had my third child. My husband just graduated from university. I was a branch manager then, but I was on maternity leave. And of course, we all know what EI gives you when you're on mat leave. My husband couldn't find a job for 3 years in Toronto. He couldn't find a job. So it wasn't because we were lavish, it wasn't because we were spending too much, but because he couldn't find a job. And that's the economic parts of credit situation. We lost Anu for a bit. Hopefully, we're still live. Anu, are you back? Okay. I wanted to make sure I don't keep talking while you're away, so we don't. So I'm not talking to Tim here. Okay. So I was talking about how we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I said this is what we're talking about. The camera I want to get, it won't time. So there's a timer on the camera I use, 29:59. But the camera I want to get, people, it's there's no timer on it, so we go on. But yeah, sorry, man. Sorry about that.
Maybe I won't go. I mean, because of time, I won't go into that story. But what I'm trying to say
You
is
can,
that
you can
I
go on, ma. You
understand.
can go on, ma.
So because it couldn't find a job for 3 years, we ended up having to supplement a lot of bills, which a lot of people are doing now. Supplement a lot of bills with our credit. And after a while, what happened? The credits would finish and you have nowhere else to go. And then what happened? It impacts your credit. So as of 2009, our credit was completely gone. Again, this is part of the reasons why we have CC lending centers. I wanted to make sure people are not, or when people are in that situation, they have somewhere to go. Our credit was gone. I had a baby. My daughter was 4 months old at the time, and we decided to come to Edmonton, to come live in Edmonton. Maybe he will find a job. We couldn't rent a car. We were in the airport for a long time. I had a 4 months old with 3 other boys, 3 other children with us. We didn't know where to go. We wanted an hotel. We didn't know anybody. We wanted to rent an hotel. We didn't have a credit card. They wouldn't take debit card. We're just in the airport for the longest time until I went to one of the rental company and I cried. I cried and I begged. I said, please, we've been here for the longest time. All we want to do is rent a car, right? This is what could happen when you have challenges with your credit. After begging for a while and crying, telling them I'm not moving, you can imagine how embarrassed my husband was at this point, right? At the end of the day, they collected a lot of money from me as a deposit. Then they gave us a card. Then we had to drive around to find an hotel and then beg again because there was no credit. So credit challenges could cause a lot. I just want you to know if you're out there, you find yourself in a situation where similar to ours is to no fault of yours, right? We can help you. we can help you. At least we will start with issuing you a credit card. We've been there. We've been down that road. There is no judgment. The first thing we would do is give you a credit card and also work with you to fix that credit history. I just wanted to share that for anybody that needs to hear
Wow,
it.
wow, because to be very sincere, and I'm happy that you shared that story, because anyone that sees you and your husband now will say, "Oh my God, it's perfect couple. Oh my God, couple goals." But the truth is, you never know what people have been through in their life, and that's one thing that we're trying to clamor in the community. Both those that have African descent or those that are, whether you've never even seen Africa with your two eyes, or you've never even gone and you know that you're black or whatever it is, you know, one of the ways we can actually shine is by raising others. Imagine if you said, because you've been through that experience, everyone you know must go through that experience. So you don't give them the right information. And I've seen a lot of people that they don't want to talk to any black person because most people will tell you, I started from the basement, so why are you looking for a condo? And I'm in my head, I'm like, why should you want me to sleep on the floor? Like, why can't you help me be better? And I think that that's one way that we create a better future for our kids, where our kids are able to say, I went through college debt free. I went through college, and I even though I didn't pay my fees, I didn't have credit card debt, because that's number one consumer debt that's destroying a lot of families. It is, to be very sincere, but not CLC card, guys. CLC card doesn't destroy families, it helps family grow. So one thing that I wanted to read out is, one thing you guys have to do is to apply for the credit card. That's the first step. Then you send us a secure deposit between $300 to $25,000. So like I said, let's imagine that you have $10,000 laying somewhere, or someone blesses me, or I win the lottery. I win the lottery for, let's say, $100,000, right? I'll be able to say, you know what, let me have a CLC card where I'll put 25,000 in there, and I'll still keep building my credit while doing that. So I want to make sure that we, if we have any questions online on Facebook. Okay, so another question is there cash back on CLC?
There is currently no cashback with City Lending Center's secured credit card. And I will honestly tell you, it's not a point of focus. Cashbacks and points are amazing. They are amazing. You know, when we started this conversation earlier, I know you spoke a lot about representation too, right? You spoke about representation, and a few minutes ago, you just talked about supporting each other as a community. And I'm not saying come get CLC credit card because I'm a Nigerian or because I'm black. I am saying that get CLC Secure Credit Card because it helps you plan, it helps you control your spending, you don't get in debt with it. Plus, the interest rate is 18.99%. Most of the ones in the bank is 19.99%. The store cards, Costco and Co are like a little over 25%. What I will encourage you to do is to, like Anu said earlier, lifting each other up. When you talk about representation, City Lending Centers is the first Black-owned company that will have a branded credit card. So if you currently have credit cards with other banks and you're giving them that money, why can't you cancel that card? Come apply for City Lending Center's credit card. We will work with you. We will take you on a journey that the bank will not take you. I was a branch manager for 11 years, and I can tell you for a fact, a lot of the financial advisors that we have in the branches that you go talk to, they are salespeople. They tell you what I, as a branch manager, then would tell them to tell you. They have daily targets, weekly target, and God bless you. If you ever work for Margaret Adekunle, you will have to hit your target. So their job is to sell, right? Their job is to sell. What I'm saying is that the difference with City Lending Center's credit card and the ones that you will get is that they will not hold your hands and educate you the way that we would. They will not map out your financial journey like we would. We're willing to help you not only build your credit, but to also take you on a journey where you begin to budget, you begin to save, you begin to invest for the future. And the amazing thing about it also is that we have mortgage licenses and real estate licenses as well. So if you're looking to build your credit, then buy a house. We will take you on that journey all in one shop. You don't have to go here, go there. So with cashback, no, we don't have cashback, but we will give you an amazing experience. You'll be paying lower fees than you normally would have paid.
And it's
And
all
you'll be
debt free,
supporting your
guys.
own people too. And
Yeah.
there'll be
And
representation, right? The reality is that we are small. The banks are big already. If you don't start canceling those credit cards to come get ours, and we're not having business, then there's no more black-owned company with branded credit card. Let's look at it that way as well, so that we can better position our community.
and also something that just popped in my head while you were talking is, I know some people will say, oh, don't cancel your credit card, you know, you don't want to destroy your credit, whatever. So I was okay, you know what, let's do it like this. Let's imagine that you're owing $5,000 on your current credit card, right? And the reason why you've been using this credit card is because of your points, in which your points will, yes, will get you to travel, it will help you to buy stuff. But imagine that for those points, you're going to get into debt. So what I would advise, if you want to talk to a sister, is clear up your credit card, pay back the bank's money, right? Have zero. Now go get a secure credit card, and that same 5,000 that you feel like you would have had before, put it into the secure credit card and keep using, and you keep building your credit. Now, if you not want to make a lump purchase, you know, sometimes people forget that even if they want to buy, let's say, let's imagine I want to buy equipments for the studio now, and my equipments are about $10,000, right? So if let's say, and I already have the $10,000, it will be very nice for me to take my $10,000 cash, put into my secure credit card, and actually go make that purchase, because the credit bureau will see that I'm investing in myself. I remember that I read an article somewhere where the lady said, she a professor in, I think it's Oxford or Harvard, one of those Ivy League universities in the US, and she said that professor told her that, do you know that the credit bureau, they actually check what you're using this money for? Like, so it's not like you're just spending money and you're buying stuff here and there. They want to see that what you're actually spending money on is actually a bit more quality, and they send this information to those that do life insurance. I was amazed. So let's imagine that you use your credit card or your debit card in drive-thrus and all that. They would see it. So when they send all this information, all the details to the life insurance people, it actually springs up your what they call that thing, a premium, because they know that you actually haven't been eating healthy. I don't know how they got that data, but when I heard the lady saying it, and she said she was shocked because she said her premium is not super high, but it's a little bit up there, and she was wondering why it was that until the professor asked that question. So imagine if investing in yourself, investing in a black-owned business, investing in a black-owned bank where they're able to help you, walk you through the journey of living debt-free, and at the same time having your own money, budgeting. You know, budgeting is one very important thing. Know your income, know your expenses, and know how to navigate you and your family out of living in debt, because we're actually coming from a system that we actually pay cash for everything. I don't know, maybe in Nigeria you had a credit card, but I didn't. If I wanted to go to the Bodija market, because I lived in Ibadan, I would take the cash that I was going. So why not think like that? That imagine I also have this. This is my Bodija market in court, and I'm actually going to Superstore. So I will take my CLC card and go make those purchases. And those things are recorded with the credit bureau, and it really helps us. So like she said, representation is important, but also you want to live debt free. Like the scripture says, a good man leaves wealth for not just his children, but his children's children. You don't want to leave credit card debt for your kids. You want to leave multi-generational wealth for them. So it's very important.
And I know, if I can add something to what you're saying, same in the Bible, because you mentioned the Bible, right? And I don't remember which part of it it is again, but there's a verse in the Bible that says a debtor will remain a slave to the master. Is very, very, that's exactly how credit cards work. If you have a credit card balance of $3,000, it will take you about 6 years to pay it off, and you will pay almost double back. So at what point do you begin to save and invest in your own future? Right? Some of us, already at turning 45. I think about it all the time. I wish somebody somewhere had told me this when I was 23 years old or when I was 20 years old. I wish I could earn, 10,000 a month, and my 10,000 a month goes straight into my account and I don't have to pay any debt. Just imagine a world without debt, a world where you look at your bank account and you see 20, 30, 40,000 because you don't have to pay credit card debt.
Thank you very much, Ma. That's true. We need to go back to that system where we had the money to purchase it. But I want to talk about something which I think you can kind of educate us, because we kind of have like 15 minutes to the end of the show. And one thing is, how can I use the CLC card and still be disciplined? Because to be very sincere, I have this mindset of, if I cannot discipline myself with 15 naira or $15 or $30, if I have $100, I still won't be disciplined. So when it comes to money management and debt management, how do I do it? Because I've lived in Canada where I've had, let's say, $100 in credit card debt, and I've lived in Canada, let's say, and I have $15,000 in debt. So now I've got into the road where I say, okay, you know what? I want to start repaying all my debt. I want to live debt free. I want to get the CLC card. But it's still the same me that will see this purchase and go for it. Or I want to do this and I go for it. So how do I navigate myself when it comes to money management and debt management, so that I can leave that multi-generational wealth for my kids?
Amazing. That's an amazing question. And I love how you word it. As mothers, we want to get everything for our children, but we also want to make sure that we don't leave them with a lot of debt. And so the first thing that I would advise is to plan. Have a financial roadmap. You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's like walking blindly. Once you have a plan, then you have to auto save. You have to automatically save. That means 20% or 10% of your biweekly paycheck automatically goes into a savings account before you even say it. Then you have to make sure that you're budgeting frequently. You just have to budget. You have to be laser focused. I feel bad sometimes with my kids. We'll go somewhere and say, Mom, that is $20. It's so expensive. In my mind, I was like, I'm happy, but in my mind, I'll be like, God, what have I done to these kids? Because they think everything is expensive. It's funny. Even something that I don't mind, it's $100, maybe I'll buy, but they look at it and they say, Mom, it's so expensive. So I guess you have to get to that mind. You have to have that mindset. How many hours do I have to work in order to pay this back? So you're working 8 hours. You're buying something for $100 right now. So you're going to work for 8 hours in the future in order to pay this back. Let's free ourselves from the slave trade. We have this mentality instilled in us as soon as we enter Canada. Just buy now and pay later. But what if we didn't have credit system? And it's the same thing as Nigeria. You will spend what you have. So I think we have to reset our mind to go back. And it's hard to live within what we have because our mind is being completely reset, right? It's really hard. However, we can try, not just for us, but for our children. So again, like I said, start with planning, have a roadmap, what you want to achieve, short-term, long-term, auto save and budget constantly.
Yes, I remember our guest from 2 weeks ago said, "Cut your coat according to your material, not your size." And that was when he was talking about like mortgage, that the bank says, "Oh, we've approved you a $500,000 house," and you just go and say, "Oh my God," and you go straight for a $500,000 house, right? So, like she just said, cut your coat according to your material, not necessarily your size, because that material can give you a face cap and can also give you a bracelet. Just make sure you're able to control that. I know we have 10 minutes before the end of the show, but I wanted you to touch on how you've been practical ways, because I know that CLC is here to stay, and we pray that God will help us to reach more people and they'll be able to come in and maximize this opportunity. But as a mom of 4, and I know it's a lot of work, have you been able to create that balance in training them when it comes to money literacy? What age do we start? Like my baby is less than 2, and I already have a piggy bank in her in her room that she's going to be using, where if someone gives you $1, you trade inside your piggy bank, right? So how have you been able to train up your kids, or what are practical tools you can give parents out there that they can use to help their own kids when it comes to financial literacy?
I think, first of all, kids need to understand the difference between a debit card and a credit card. They need to know what debit is, what credit is. And the moment they understand that and how much work, because some kids, Christmas is coming, they think money grows on trees, right? They want everything for Christmas, and it's just conversation. I have lots of conversations with my kids. I tell them, look at how hard mommy works. I want to get you everything that you want. However, this is what I can afford at this point. Mothers were emotional spenders, right? So this just conversation. Have a lot of conversations with your kids. Explain to them. Trust me, they understand. Your 2-year-old will understand. If you tell them, explain, draw pictures about debit and credit, they get it. They understand. Don't go as deep as I go with my kids because they're scared to spend any money. But if you just spend the time to talk to them, they really understand. Just start with let them learn credit, let them learn debit, right? And I love what you're doing with already teaching your child how to save. I think those are the basic important things, right? When we're going to the store, we're buying with this, maybe give them cash. If they see something for $100 that they want to buy, tell them, I'm going to have to work 8 hours to buy that. I'm going to work 8 hours to earn $100, and then you want to spend it on a shoe. Those are the ways that I have conversations with my kids. I let them see the practical reasons and how it makes sense.
So for you, would you say that giving a kid that's like 12 or 10 a debit card or credit card, would you think it's too early? At what age do you start trusting them with these cards?
My, I guess, was different because I work in the bank, right? So I automatically open accounts, give them the debit card, which they never use. Most of them don't use it. We will have to practically encourage them to use those cards. So I won't say any age is too young if you want to teach kids about financial literacy. I think you just should continue having conversations. And when you're doing things, they understand. Our children are very smart. They're very, very smart. You can give them debit card. Your child is 2 years old. Maybe he can't go to the store, but maybe you go to the dollar store and you want to buy something, right? With the 2-year-old, I will probably give them $3 or $2 so they can buy anything that they want. And if we go to the store, the thing they want is $3 instead of $2. I say, you find something for $2 because that's all you have, right? Those things stick with them.
Contentment, and that's one thing I keep hearing you say. Contentment for whatever it is. Even when you have the CLC card, guys, you don't say because you've already put 5,000 there, you go max it out, right? See it as a net where you're able to always put the money back. I remember that my mom would tell me then when she said, talking to me about credit card, that if I'm going to buy something worth $100, and then I didn't even know about then we didn't have CLC, but imagine if I had $100 to go to the store and I wanted to, let's say, buy a dress and a shoe, and it cost me $100. She would tell me, have the $100 in your debit card, and once you use that credit card, or like we have now, the CLC, to buy it, I transfer that money back into it. So, and that's where my question lies, is how do we put money into our CLC cards? Is there a link with our bank cards? Do we have to come to the office for cash? How do we put money into our CLC cards?
We've made it very easy. Interact transfer. You just transfer, right? Comfort of your own home, you transfer. We get it into the corporate account immediately. We issue your card. As easy as that.
Oh, okay. So do we have any other questions? Do we have anyone that has any other questions before we have her say her final words? Please make sure that you check the link in the description. Please click that link and you will get better, you get more details about CLC. The full launch is in February, if I'm correct. So February next year, we're having the full launch. So please make sure you don't miss out. And if you have any questions or you need to be educated, the links in the description, you can check them out on Instagram. You can check them out on Facebook. You can check them out on the website. And also, if you follow Margaret Adekunle on LinkedIn, you get a lot of tea. You get, when I mean tea, I mean good information. And also, sorry, I wanted to ask the page for the diversity group. You have a page on
Immigrant
LinkedIn.
Inclusive Credit. Immigrant Inclusive Credit. If you ever have any issues in the work environment, we're here to help you. We have lawyers, we have employment lawyers on board that will have conversations with you. I'm here with years of experience. If you have any kind of issues, maybe you're being performance managed, we will give you the tools needed to deal with that later. So apart from just helping you with your credit, Immigrant Inclusive Credit is a free credit counseling foundation, but we also help you with any issues related to the work environment. So we're on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, we are on IG. Follow our pages, follow CC Lending Center page as well on IG.
Thank you very much, Ma. I'm so grateful for this education. And I hope and I pray that a lot of people, please, if you're out there and you want to maximize this, it is something that I'm looking into to also maximize, so as to, yes, the point system is good, but to be very sincere, it is all debt. I sat down one day and I checked through the points for a particular credit card. Let's not mention their names. And I looked at the point system. They told me if I had 50,000 points, I'll be able to buy this thing. So I went on Amazon and I checked how much. Oh, I always compare prices, right? So I went on Amazon and I went to check out the original price of this thing, and it was $350. And I saw that the 50,000 points was actually for $500. So it means that they were getting $150 in profit, but they were claiming that I was getting a good deal because I was getting points. So to be very sincere with you guys, it's always good to live debt free. You're able to sleep in your house without thinking that someone's going to knock at the door of your house, or a credit collector is not coming to call you and say, hi, is this Anu? No. So we want to live debt free. I want to leave multi-generational wealth for our kids. And you also want your kids to start learning this early. So please make sure that you follow these links and follow them on LinkedIn and get all this information. So before you go, I want to get a final word from you. What will be your final words to everyone out there today?
Well, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. I want to encourage each one of you. The systems that we live in was already set up. We came into it and we're adapting to it. Therefore, I want to encourage each one of you, whatever it is that you can do to be impactful or to make somebody else's life better is what we should think of, is what we should do. Thinking of doing the right thing all the time. Other is CC Lending Centers or any other Black or Nigerian-owned company, please support Black-owned businesses as much as you can. It's easier for the other people to get more loans at the bank. It's not that easy for us to get that much loan. They also refer their children and their children's children to get those loans. We don't have that privilege. We only have each other. So I want to encourage each one of you to support us, follow us on all our social media platforms, and please feel free to reach out at any time.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you, everyone. Please make sure that you support where we put out even on our page. Please make sure that you support this anniversary week. So there are so many things that we're in need of as we're growing and as we're scaling up. right now we're starting with our bill right now is about $10,000 to start with, to start getting equipment for the show. But please make sure that you support CLC. Share with your friends, share with your cousins. If you're in the university, this is an opportunity to maximize, and make sure that you follow them on all social media platforms, and also support us as you go. So till we see you on Friday, where we talk about common mistake first-time home buyers make. Make sure that you tune in on the show also, and subscribe to the channel so as to watch previous episodes and also this video. Till we see you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye.